So I'm the Chief Exec of Nottinghamshire Community Foundation, and we're a local charity based in Mansfield, but we cover the whole city and the county.
For the past few years?
Certainly. Well, we are administrators of local philanthropy. So we support local companies, local families, some regional contracts and national contracts in giving grants to local community groups and local charities. We've had the opportunity over the last 21 years we've been going to give £25 million away, mostly in very small grants, somewhere between £500 and £5,000 mostly. And on average we give about 300 groups or 300 projects funds every year. I love supporting new initiatives because it's beautiful to support beautiful people doing beautiful things, and there are so many well-meaning people in our communities who want to do something for those who are in greater need, and it's a privilege to be able to support them. We're often brokering relationships between people and organisations and projects, so because we're seeing a huge amount of initiative and project delivery going across each ward in the city and across the towns and villages in the county. People say, oh, we need a new youth project in such and such a place, and we go, yep, you're absolutely right. Why don't you go and talk to these people who are also in the process of setting one up? So we can try to introduce them, and because we know when you do it together you're stronger than doing it alone. So we love supporting new initiatives, and we're always looking out for what I call the butterfly projects, which are sort of almost a different dimension. They're flying high above the caterpillar projects, which there's lots of great projects doing more of the same. But some of them are very dependent on grant monies. And in the current climate, that becomes not so sustainable. So we're always looking out and wanting to support those organisations who maybe have a trading arm, or have got ideas about being more entrepreneurial, or joining forces with somebody else so that they are more sustainable in the future. Well, we currently run 42 different funds. So that's 42 different sets of criteria and different clients. And some clients have a very specific idea about what they're trying to fund. They may just only want to be looking at funds at organisations in Hucknall. They might just be looking for young people, and not just that, they may be looking for talented young musicians who live in Hucknall. So that criteria is quite fixed. We can't make any changes on that. We deliver according to the client's needs. Others are a little bit more general, and they may come to us and say, what is the need in Nottingham City, or what is the need for young people? Where we can say, well, in talking to the Police Crime Commissioner or to the social services or to the youth offending teams, the need is currently very strong on knife crime and gangs, and we would encourage that client then to have a priority for this year or maybe the next 2 years around young people and knife crime. So some are listening to us and taking our advice. Others already have a very clear idea about what they want to fund. And what we say to people who are applying for funds is that they just must read the criteria. Because if it is very specific, and that's not quite what you do, don't waste your time or our time in applying for something that you're not going to actually get through anyway. It may actually have nothing to do with the quality of their application. It may be much more to do with the fact that there's a limited budget. Say, for example, on that panel, we've only got £50,000 to give away. And we might have £200,000 worth of applications on the table. So that group might only have a 1 in 4 chance of getting funding. So they may be absolutely bang on the criteria, the application may be superb. We may have all the other documentation that we require, the policies, the bank statements, the accounts, the safeguarding, for example. So they may score 10 out of 10 on the application and the paperwork, but it's just a matter of there's too many good projects on the table, and the client makes choices against not just sometimes our recommendations, but the recommendations of other people, and they might just decide that day that it's mental health and suicide that is a priority to them with young people because they've got a friend whose child was suicidal, or they've read some newspaper article. So all of a sudden, that week, there's something else that's slightly, the homelessness agenda, for example. Suddenly that client says, well, how many of these are to do with homelessness and young people? Let's prioritise that. Because that helps us make some choices. You know, so I mean, sometimes it's to do with the fact that there's just not enough money on the table for everyone. Other times it's to do with the application may be a little bit complicated. The funding may be not very clear. They may have asked for things which we would say, well, actually, this we know that costs £300 on Amazon, but you can pick them up on eBay for 30 quid. So why have you put £300 from Amazon for this when most community groups are more frugal and saying, well, let's go for the budget option. We often get them, we all want Apple Mac computers. I'm like, yeah, wouldn't we all, you know? So we go, well, no, I'm sorry, it looks a bit greedy. So you're not going to score points with us for putting all these things down, especially when we're looking for reasons in the first place to say no. Because we're going, well, we need to get rid of 50% on the table immediately. Well, let's try and quickly find a reason to say no. Oh, well, I don't understand what they're saying here. It's a bit confused. Oh, well, that's a no. Oh, Apple Mac computers. Oh, well, that's a no. I wish. Oh, right. Well, how much are they charging? You know, how much are they giving per hour? £30 an hour. Oh, I wish. That's a no. You know, so be very careful in what you apply for and the funding that you put down, and is it clear? And always ask people who are experienced to read it and say, is that clear to you? Do you understand what we're applying for? Because it's very sad actually that more than 50% of applications we read, we go, I still don't know who they are and what they're doing. Because it's very, people who are in it go, well, we want to do this and we want to do that, and we go, yeah, but who are you and what do you do in 2 sentences? Because I'm not quite clear who you are. We are a youth group. This needs to be the first sentence. You know, because we go, well, what sort of group are they? You know, if you don't make it very, very obvious, and you've got to try to find that in somewhere down the line, we may only have 10 minutes to make decisions because the client's a wealthy businessman and he says, well, I've got to go, I'm catching the plane to Heathrow, we've got 10 minutes to make a decision. But if you're searching for answers, oh, well, no, that one's not clear, oh, this one's clear, you know. There used to be a lot more. There used to be a lot of opportunities for people like us and the CVSs across the city and the county, you know, Mansfield CVS, Rushcliffe CVS, Nottingham CVS, to have the staff to support groups in learning how to apply in fundraising in all of these techniques. Sadly, there isn't the money available for those posts now. So, you know, we don't have the staff and the facilities to do that for people. What we advise is you go and talk to somebody who is experienced at doing it. And we will always try to introduce you to people to say, well, listen, these people are very good at applications. They're very good at our systems and processes. Please go and learn off them. Because there's a saying, what you do together one day, you can do alone the next. So, you know, we say, find a friend. It's a great idea. I wish we could, actually. Again, that's time and resources. We don't have the staff to do that. There used to be a lot more forums where people all dealing with early years would get together, people all dealing with the elderly would get together, and there was an organisation called Nottingham Association of Voluntary Organisations, which was paid by the County Council to convene those forums And it gave everybody an opportunity to, yes, share learning, become stronger together, feedback to statutory services about the needs in communities. Again, there's no money for that. Those, were the good old days in some respects. What we do is try to, like I said, introduce people to other organisations doing similar things as best we can. But we have over 3,000 groups on our network. That's an awful lot of introductions. So sadly, it's up to the group themselves in most respects to find and do the research themselves, talk to the people, their youth officers and their other community representatives to say, well, who else is around doing things? Because we sadly have to put the onus back on you to do that for yourselves. Well, there are the neighbourhood areas and the forum areas in the city. In quite a few of the towns, there is like Hucknall Voluntary Sector Partnership. They come together in a venue called Under One Roof, which supports many of them in whether it's applications or projects or you can share my IT facilities or what have you. But again, that's down to one or two people trying to champion that. Yeah. And they're going to be probably unpaid volunteers. I wish I could say yes. Sadly, quite a lot of the evaluation reports that we get show that the picture is more dire than ever. And that, for every one project we fund, that project really needs 10 times that amount of money because there's 10 times the amount of work to do. You look at the whole knife crime agenda, for example, or the homeless agenda. For every penny that we spend on it, there's another £100 that ought to be spent on it if we are going to have any positive results. Because it's not just those young people who are struggling with those gangs and that agenda, it's recognising that actually we need to get in junior schools and primary education around anger management, around confidence, around social media bullying, and so many things that you need to address to try to tackle some of the problems that are going on. Mm-hmm. There just isn't the funds available. It's a contributing factor. It's such a complex issue, isn't it? Because you often say that the perpetrators were victims and the abusers were abused. So where do you start in understanding where it starts in families, in communities, in societies? It's a very, very deep and complex picture. Yes, social media and the speed of viral messages where so-and-so's, been stabbed in Bulwell and suddenly people are galvanising in fear or revenge. People know people. Yes, it can exacerbate things. Equally, it can be a source for positive good in supporting communities, getting positive messages out there in solidarity around the preventative agenda, around the healing agenda, around the community cohesion. It's got as many positives as it has negatives. Well, if you win the lottery, come and see us, because we'd love to set up your fund for you. If you know any lottery winners, do recommend us. And equally local companies, local families, local companies, we start funds from £10,000, £15,000, £20,000, which a lot of companies do a lot of good charitable fundraising and charitable giving. And sadly, a lot of it goes to London, to the big charities by default. I would ask everybody who's giving money to charity to come and talk to us for free advice about which charities really need the money, which charities and projects are actually going to value it, and which charities are going to give them more bang for their buck in many respects. Because a lot of national charities, as you know, you may give them £5, but only £2 will go onto the projects. The other £3 will go to the massive infrastructure, the marketing, the fundraising, So we, for our clients, recommend local giving, of course, and we will say, well, we can guarantee you that when we suggest funding a particular project, 100% of your gift is going to go to that project, and that project is going to spend 100% of that fund on its charitable activities, because most local charities don't have marketing budgets or marketing people or fundraising people that they pay for. So we absolutely promote for local, buy local, and would very kindly suggest to you that if you are fundraising, sweating in marathons or running up and down Kilimanjaro, please give local. It's a good question. We haven't got a marketing budget. We're Nottingham's best kept secret. They can telephone us. We've got a Facebook site, so they can message us via Facebook. And I would recommend, if local projects are looking for funding, that they look on our website every month, because sometimes our funds only have a 6-week window to apply in. So we're uploading them and closing them down frequently. So, and if you at first don't succeed with your funding application, just keep trying, because we say on average, 1 in 5 attempts will succeed.
Thank you very much for being part of the digital story, and hopefully we'll be able to come back again.
It's a pleasure. Good luck with your work.
Thank you very much.